Hello, welcome back. Steven and Ray, right? These guys happened. Now, so you guys have been here for the other two. You guys have probably already summoned, or you were waiting for Mega Ray in particular because you love Rayquaza. Now, I know. Now, some of you guys probably remember the whole fiasco about Reshiram and Rayquaza having lower offensive stats. We're going to go over that more in depth, but this is the general analysis of what Rayquaza does. So this is obviously Shiny being our second Rayquaza, first one being free. This pair has Dragon and Flying damage, whereas at the time, regular Ray, being Zinnia Ray, didn't have Flying, so this was very interesting at the time. This was Flying, that one's Dragon. They were still two distinct different kits. So you have Dragon Ascent and Draco, both of which lowering your stats, but we'll go into that later. X Attack, being able to get his attack up to +4. Then Sky High, maxing out your crit rate, giving you super effective next. And if you're Mega, you also get 2 speed. Now I forgot to put these here, but both these are 2 uses, which is perfectly fine. So you have 2 ways to get super effective next, and it's on command. But then your sync move, being a strike pair, single target becomes AoE. Flying type goes up to 192 because Megas naturally have a lower sync base power. For the most part, unless if your names are Zygarde and Necrozma. Those are the 2 ones I can name off the tip of my head. I don't remember anyone else off the tip of my head. And you Mega Evolve into Mega Rayquaza until the end of the battle. Now the thing about this Mega is that most Megas gain offensive stats. Mega Ray here just gains speed. So you really don't have a reason to Mega. So abilities, you have Hoenn Flag Bearer. We've already been over what massive passives do. If you are confused, go back. You guys probably already saw them, but go back to the Lily and N videos because they have the exact same passive except it's just a different region. Downside up, when the lower stats would be lowered, raise the stats by the same amount instead. So your Draco would raise your special attack, and Dragon Ascent would raise your defenses instead. So you can get all of your stats up to +6 minus like accuracy and evasion. So that's very good. Good form. The more the user's stats there is, the more it powers up the user's moves. So let's see, you have attack +4, 6 being later or with the support. So we're gonna assume 6. Special attack +6. Defense and special defense eventually +6, and speed you can get up as well if you save your TMs for after Mega, or if you get a passive called Fleetfoot, which is later. So it's 5 stats up to +6 in theory. It'll take time to get them up there, but in theory, that is not bad at all. So that's like 30. Move gauge refresh 4, 50% chance of refunding 1 move gauge when a move is successful. So Mega Ray, everything he does can get you a move gauge back. So despite being 4-bar and 3-bar, he can be very move gauge efficient because it's just coin flip constantly. On top of his higher speed stat, especially when Mega, your move gauge with speed buffs or move gauge acceleration is just flying. Now, 1 out of 5 grid. So, still base kit, Sky High, MPR2, 30% chance of refunding Sky High when used. Just like Snorlax or anyone else who gives general buffs, he can give himself super effective up. This is not bad to have, especially for a 1 out of 5. You drop this later on because you want your super effective hits to kill. But having the MPR isn't the worst of things. You get additional Draco accuracy, so that's guaranteed to hit. You get some Dragon Ascent power, some Draco power, some general stats, and you have a sync modifier. Powers up sync moves by 50% when weather is not in effect. So, Zinnia wants weather, Steven doesn't want weather. That's another reason, that's another way where these kits differ. And X-Attack MPR2, so this is a way you can max out your attack if you don't want to run a supporter. You just fish for a refresh and you move on. 2 out of 5, you get access to Head Start 1. So when you enter the fight as regular Ray, you will get -1 countdown. This does not reactivate on Mega because it's only the first time, then the passive goes away. you get 50 sync power, which typically sync power comes from the 3 out of 5 grid. So getting extra sync power here is pretty nice. Some more Dragon Ascent power, some more Draco power, and you get their move gauge refreshes. So you're even more move gauge efficient from before. Or at least you can be if that's what you go for. So that's pretty sweet. Then 3 out of 5, we have Fierce Entry. This will activate upon Mega. So you enter the fight, +1, your 2 X attacks, +5, you Mega, you're +6. You can now wipe whoever you want, pretty much. Weather Wipe 9 removes weather when the user uses the move. So let's say I used this one time against Moltres Legendary Arena. I just kept clearing the sun by using any move. Draco buffing up my special attack, it would just clear the weather. So it's very handy for stuff like that. Some CSs have weather as well. For example, Drake has sand with his Flygon, so you could use Steven as a dragon DPS and clear the sand immediately, just as an example. Sync Freebie, even more move gauge efficient. When you sync, you get free move next, so you can just immediately Dragon Descent or Draco in that Drake example. Dragon Descent Fleet Feet. I keep wanting to say Fleet Foot, but it's Fleet Feet, which is a tongue twister. Raises speed by 1 when Dragon Ascent is used, so you would raise your defense, special defense, and speed all by 1 stat rank per Dragon Ascent. That's pretty good. 3 stats in 1 move. Then you get Clear Sync up 9. Powers up sync moves by 90% when the weather's not in effect, so if you combine this with the other one, that's 140%. With, unfortunately, a lower base power sync move. So this isn't the greatest, because these two combined is only a little bit stronger than what would be Inertia, or what I wish he had, Rising Tide, to work with his buffs, because he'd be able to max it out very quickly, which they learned with Deoxys. Draco Meteor Critical Strike 2 powers up Draco Meteor by 20% when it lands a critical hit. So Dragon DPS, you would want this. Like, this helps quite a bit. Clear Power Up 1, powers moves by 10% when the weather is not in effect. It's only 10%, but it's not the worst in the world if no one runs weather. It's just a free 10%. So, by all means, take it. And I am missing a few passages from here, but I took the most notable ones. The last one, I think, was you can't be confused, trapped, or flinched when there's no weather, which you're not really going to use unless it's like an ultra specific situation. I just noticed that's cut off. Again, damn it, whatever. Now, pros of this character. Works perfectly fine as a flying and dragon DPS, so he can cover two weaknesses that could be plaguing your roster. On command, super effective up to make up for lack of modifiers. So his basic modifiers, as you saw, aren't that great. I'll get into good form a little later, because good form is a modifier, but I'll get into that in a second. Has access to a higher speed set and move gauge refreshes for consistent move gauge coverage and support. So he typically doesn't have to worry about move gauge all that much. But if someone has it, it's an extra. It's just flying up. Or if it's a move gauge heavy team, for example, dual flying strikers, because that's not the worst of ideas to run with him. Or you could just use Tech Egg Farfetch'd, because that was his best partner for the longest time because of Leer, Air Slash, and flying skill. That's perfectly viable as well. Cons. This is where I kind of tear into him a little bit. He has a lower attack stat and sync base power because he's Mega. We went over that a little bit. He does not gain any attack stats off of Mega Evolution. So it is more beneficial to use a support EX instead of Mega Evolving with Rayquaza, because you gain no offensive stats off of it, and support EXs are just so broken. It's just not worth it. You need to build for max attack, whether it be Fierce Entry or the X-Attack MP Refresh, or you just bring a support for it, which isn't the end of the world. But your special attack, you need a lot more help if you plan on running him as a Dragon DPS. And because of that, his buff time suffers. His best, one of the better buff supporters that I can think of is Eevee. You support EX with Eevee, you get +2 in everything. So that maxes attack, that helps special attack, you get speed, you get both defenses, you get accuracy and evasion. So you'd be getting more buffs from Eevee than you would by himself. So very similar situation, and he's just slow when it comes to getting his full benefit. Good form gives very small incremental buffs. So this is what I meant by lack of modifiers. Good form for every buff only gives 3% up to about 40. I think it's 42 maximum. You can do the math if you want, but that is a lot of buffs to get something decently worth it. 10 buffs alone would about match what would be ramming speed and those kinds of buffs, because those give 30%. Anything after that, good luck. And it takes so long to get those buffs, I don't even know if it's worth it. Only strong modifier is super effective up. He has a 20%, he has a 10%, and sync is only a little bit greater, but once again, lower sync power and lower attack stat. His sync nuke can kill stuff in Champion Stadium, but do not rely on it. You need super effective up for it, and Farfetch's defense downs or anyone else who does that. He needs help when it comes to damage coverage. Flying Zone helped this pair a lot when Skyla came out, because that's a free 50% modifier where he doesn't have much else going for him. 50% zone with 140% with this super effective up, that can kill stuff. That's way stronger. Now, is he worth it? If you need a flying DPS, everyone got blue for free. Blue works because of how strong Hurricane is. And his immediate access to some modifiers. Granted, he needs a little help as well in other ways. It's not to the degree of what Rayquaza is. He's still a top. He's still like higher mid when it comes to flying DPS. Dragon is still not bad, but it's just weird that someone not mediocre, not weak, but not that oppressive is a Master Fair. It was just odd. So who else is here? Frogs. You guys have heard me say this with the other two videos. We got Frog Squad, less than 2 weeks left. Jasmine ends very soon, who's a very, very good support character. And other Master Fair reruns would probably be more worth your attention. Honestly. It's just probably more worth it to go for a 1-5 Lily or 1-5 N than it is Steven. But if you love Rayquaza, if you need a flying DPS, or just need an extra option, that's an idea. Also keep in mind, New Year's pairs are coming, Rock Zone's coming, a zone is very valuable. But to then, saving till half anniversary being March, which is 2 months away now, 2.5-ish, is not the worst of ideas. If you could save somewhere, I would probably cut Steven out. But that's just my opinion. If you guys found this helpful, if you're going to go for Steven anyway, let me know in the comments. I will not judge. I really do not care. As long as you guys play with who you love, that's all that I care about. He can definitely still clear content. And see you in the next video. Bye.